Tater, are you okay?
No, I'm not okay. I played this new game, Apex Legends, and I've never played Battle Royale before, and they all asked me, boys, where are we dropping? And I didn't know what to say. So they all start dropping out individually, and now they're gone. I don't know what to do. If anyone finds this, my name is Tater, and these are my thoughts on Apex Legends.
Respawn have just released their newest title, and it's called Apex Legends, and it's a brand new Battle Royale that just came out of nowhere. I thought we were getting Titanfall 3, and apparently so did a whole bunch of other people, but we got this instead. Now, I'm not sure why they decided to keep this game hidden for so long, and why it's releasing now of all times, but it is out, and it's out in full release. It's not in early access, it's not in a beta, it is out right now and it's free to play. This is huge, and it makes me beg the question, will it be able to battle other Battle Royale games like Fortnite and Call of Duty Blackout? My name is ThymeShock, but you can call me Tater, and these are my early thoughts on Apex Legends. Let's start with some quick background information on Apex Legends. It takes place in the same universe as Titanfall, and it features this very futuristic, this very badass sci-fi like landscape full of crazy super soldiers who are all trying to kill each other in an arena and claim the title of champion for themselves. Now, each round will hold up to 60 players, and then those 60 players get separated into squads of 3, and this is the only game mode currently. And the game plays out exactly like you'd expect from a Battle Royale. You drop onto the battlefield, and you quickly begin searching for loot in order to optimize your loadout, because that's the only way you can defeat any opposition that cross paths with you. Unfortunately, there is no solo queue, so you don't have any option other than run with your squad, because running out on your own is pretty much the equivalent of shooting yourself in the head. Sure, if you're extremely talented, maybe you can pull it off. If you're a pro at shooting games, yeah, you can probably pull it off, but chances are even the best players would be gunned down and defeated if they went lone wolf. That's just how this game goes right now. This is very much a squad-based game, and as such, it's very advantageous to stick with your teammate. Now, aside from being strictly 3-man squads, this game doesn't necessarily reinvent the wheel here for Battle Royales. It does exactly what every other Battle Royale game does, and I think that's fine, actually, because what it does is polish all of the aspects of Battle Royale and makes it a very fun experience. I'm not a Battle Royale player. I don't really care for Battle Royale games, and yet I find myself wanting to play this over and over. Picking up loot is super fast and easy, the gunplay is fluid and smooth, traversing the map is exciting and fun, the sound design is highly detailed, and the world feels both exhilarating and utterly terrifying all at the same time. It's wonderful! The absolute best thing about Apex Legends, in my opinion, is actually the world that you drop into. This was the biggest draw for me. The map is so fucking cool. There are so many unique areas that remind me of other shooters like Battlefield, Call of Duty, and even, I can't believe I'm gonna say this, Far Cry 2 multiplayer, if anyone even remembers or has played that. In one corner of the map, you're gonna have a sandy desert area, and there's gonna be dunes, rocks, and bones, and that's really all you have to work with. You're very much out in the open in some of these areas, and it's up to you to slide over these sandy dune slopes, get speed, get to cover, find any treasure you can, and get the hell out of there. There's also like a burnt down forest that looks devastating and makes you feel like you just ended up on the wrong side of the map. There are facilities hidden in the mountains, there are caves you can fight in, there's even a giant skeleton of some horrible crazy monster that you can fight on top of and under. It's honestly such a freaking awesome map, and it's the main reason I ever decided to try this game. Because, let's face it, I'm a damn explorer at heart, that's what I do. I'm Dora the fucking Explorer in this game. Now, the next best thing about Apex Legends, and I would argue that this could very well be the best thing, I can't believe it, but the sound design for this game is, man, oh man, when you hear the gunfights in the distance, you get this feeling of being in a freaking war zone. Sometimes they're so distant you can't even see the players, but you know very well bad things are going down. You hear shots fired, you hear snipers going off, submachine guns, you hear explosions, and then all of a sudden it gets really quiet. And you're like, oh no, somebody just died. And then all of a sudden the announcer comes on and they go, ding, new kill leader. And that's horrifying. The guns all sound super detailed. Reloading, shooting, swapping the weapons, picking them up. It all sounds terrific. And even though it's well done, I think it is to be expected of Respawn Entertainment at this point. I mean, they are a bunch of guys who worked on Call of Duty before. It makes sense that they got this stuff down pat. What is really special is the game's way of informing the player of all the information they need and around via the sound design. Like in most shooters, you can tell things like when you've hit somebody, there's great hit registration, but you can also tell when you've depleted all their armor, which is of course crucial in this game to doing well. There's also pinging and notifying players of certain equipment and other enemies. And not only will there be a little ding sound when you ping, but characters in the game will literally say what you pinged and call it out to the other players in your squad. And a lot of times, the characters will also frequently discuss how you may or may not be in a safe zone, or if you're too far apart. And it's so informative and helpful to the player that I absolutely adore it. It may not seem like such a big deal right now, but once you play this and go back to a shooter that doesn't give you this beautiful feedback through the game audio, you'll notice it, I promise you. It's really well done, and this and the map make the game so memorable, so great. Unfortunately, not everything about Apex Legends is necessarily praiseworthy though. The graphics are nice and feel up to standard, but they're nothing jaw-dropping in my opinion. The art style is really cool though, and it's reminiscent of Titanfall, which is fantastic. But again, unfortunately, there are no Titans. In fact, one of the biggest criticisms I've seen from the internet so far is that it's set in the Titanfall universe, but there's nothing from Titanfall in this game. There's no Titans, there's no pilots, none of the weapons have made a return apparently, and you can't really wall run or do any of that fun jetpack stuff that you were able to in Titanfall. And that does make me sad, but at the same time, I have a feeling that those aspects of Titanfall would have probably broken this game, although I would like to see things like pilots and Titans make a return, even if it's just an aesthetic that you see on the map. I think building that universe is important and makes people want to play the game. And admittedly, if you could play in Titans, if this whole game was based around Titans, I'm sure it would mess up the core fundamentals of this game, but it would be pretty cool. It would definitely be different. Aside from this, there is something I personally had a huge time dealing with, and that's that the game does not tend to run very optimally, at least from my personal experience. It felt choppy and it drops frames quite frequently. I have a decent rig and I've messed with the settings over and over and over. I made sure all my drivers were up to date, and still, the game frequently drops frames on me and it continues to lag and freeze up. There's a lot of times where the game feels like it's stuttering. And it's possible it's due to the server struggling to keep up on these first few days, but then again, maybe this was just an issue on my part, so I don't know how it'll affect you or how it's affecting others currently. I did have a few disconnects from the server and experienced horrible lag in a few matches, but other than that, the connection felt fine and I could play rounds from start to finish, or at least from when I, dropped out of the spaceship and then was shot in the head. Something I forgot to mention that I should also note is that Apex Legends contains a roster of characters to choose from, and each one has their own unique abilities, similar to something like Overwatch. For example, one character can periodically drop a robot that heals you and allies, and in some instances even enemies, which I learned the hard way. Another character can create a hologram of himself in order to trick enemies, and this is really helpful, and it gives this game this interesting dynamic where you have to, as a squad, make the correct combination of characters in order to make the best use of their abilities. It's not necessary, but it's definitely going to make your chances of winning go up. The best example I can give is that there is a character that can throw down a smoke screen, but if your teammate happens to be playing a whole other character that can now see through the smoke screen, because that's two different characters can do that and work together like that, this makes for amazing, well-coordinated plays and adds some great depth to the combat of this game. However, the only downside to the whole roster of characters thing is that it's not very large right now, and it only consists of 8 legends, and 2 of which are locked and can only be unlocked by either purchasing them with real money or using an in-game currency, of course, because this is a free-to-play game and it is a microtransaction-heavy game as well, just like Fortnite. This is where my biggest concern for this game lies. The worst thing about it isn't the game itself. It's the fact that it's associated with its publisher, EA. EA is notorious at this point for being extraordinarily aggressive with their microtransactions, and I'm sad to say this, but they're labeled as a game killer at this point. I personally don't trust EA, and I find myself hesitant to even buy games that are associated with the damn company. It really sucked that I didn't get to pick up Battlefield 5 because I knew EA were gonna mess it up. I knew it was gonna be a hot mess. We could tell before the game even released. And now we're looking at Anthem, which is coming out later this month, and I really want to get it, but I'm terrified that EA is just going to mess it up again. We are already seeing EA horribly mess up their game before it's even been released. EA does this thing where they love to make a mess out of games that could potentially be great. The only reason I gave this game in particular a shot is because it's following a free-to-play model, and as of right now, there doesn't appear to be any microtransactions that really ruin the game or make it pay to win or just seem really aggressive. The pricing of microtransactions definitely seems a bit high. It seems like it's following the Fortnite pay model, which would make the most sense to me. After all, Fortnite is doing very well. Now, they have posted a roadmap where they have announced there will be, apparently, I think it was 15 more characters, and I'm a little concerned that you'll be forced to buy most of these because the game demands too much of a grind to unlock them. Currently, it feels like a bit of a grind already to even unlock one of the 2 characters that I don't yet have, and it's a bit off-putting for me. With all this said, I do think this game has crazy good potential, and I want to see Respawn succeed because I legitimately like this game, and with some extra content and updates, I think this could be the next big Battle Royale. Maybe not as big as Fortnite, but at this point, that's really hard to do. But that doesn't mean it can't be an amazing, successful title. However, I have to state this. I'm unbelievably cautious and recommend you stay vigilant because nowadays it doesn't feel like a matter of will EA screw it up, and instead it feels more of a matter of when will EA screw it up. If you're interested in playing this game, I recommend playing it now. Play it while it's free, play while it's fun, while everybody's enjoying it, before EA gets in there and gets their greedy little hands all over it and pisses off the community, because it just feels like a matter of time. Again, fingers crossed that they just don't do it, but I don't have faith anymore. I don't want to end this on a sad note. I do think this game is worth your attention. I do think this game has incredible potential. And if you're interested, go play it. It's free and it's on Xbox One, PS4, and Origin on PC. So there's no reason for you to not at least try it out. And if they introduce terrible microtransactions and you're upset with it, you just have to move on. It's sad, but that's how this works. At least I don't have to pay $60 to play the fucking base game. Thank God. With that rant over, I think it's time we sign off and go play another game. I apologize for not having uploaded in 2 weeks. I've been sick. I'm still kind of sick. I'm starting to get better. I have lots of stuff planned. I promise you, we are going full force this year. Stay tuned. Until next time, this is Tater saying, where are we dropping, boys? I don't even know. I don't know how to sign off anymore.